Heyo, welcome everyone to Today in the Scene by Indie Arcade Wave. I'm your host, Joe, and on In the Scene, we dive into what's happening in the arcade space. From new indie developers, arcade owners, and operators, and just news in the space in general. Before we start, I've got a few things I want to dive into. We've got the new shirts available, just so you know, for Galactic Battleground, we've got two shirts, and for Indie Arcade Wave, we've got another shirt. I'll throw those up on the screen so you can check them out. And we also have our cabinets available. We have a four-player Konami Galactic Battleground, as well as a four-player tabletop, which is our new model. We absolutely love it, and people have been digging that. So go check those out. I'll put a link in the description. Let's dive into this week's episode. We've got a returning guest. We've had Will on here twice. We're going to talk about what it's like to relocate your arcade, moving from a space that might have been too small, or you just signed a new lease somewhere else, and you moved everything over. I know Doc Mack from Galloping Ghost is in the process of doing this pretty soon here, but Spacebar in Boise, we've spoken with Will Hay a couple times. He's the co-owner and operator of Spacebar Arcade. How are you doing today, Will?
Hey, doing good, Joe. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm excited to talk because I've been obviously we've talked a few times now, and I've been following your whole expansion, your move, and checking in. I know I was poking. I was like, "Is it done? Are you ready? Are you moving? What's going on?" You guys are finally in that space, and there's still some stuff you got to work out with it. But let's just for anybody that hasn't seen a previous episode, introduce yourself, Will. Who are you? And then what is your favorite thing about your new location?
Hey, you guys. Will Hay here, Spacebar Arcade, Boise, Idaho. Um, and we've been in business for 10 years. We just moved into our new location. It was right next door to our previous location in the basement, downtown Boise. And I guess what most um, I like for the new space is everything has its place. We had things that people loved about the old place, but it was kind of a jumbled mess because it was just something that we kind of put into the space and made it ours over 10 years. But we found what people liked over those 10 years, and we were able to put them in the correct areas in this new space. So it's all laid out right. And then we also have a lot more space, and we have a print shop, a screen print shop that we put in the back because we started a screen printing business during COVID when we were shut down. So now that's in there as well. So just the added space is great.
Awesome. Yeah, it's got to be nice having more space, especially when you've been there for 10 years and you're moving games in and out. You want to be able to have more space to keep more games on the floor and gives you a little bit more spice for the arcade. Um, Quick, tell the story of Spacebar. Like, how did everything start? You and your partner started this. Like, how did you go from the idea of an arcade to having the arcade and now moving to a second location?
Well, I got to tell you, Joe. I was the first hire. I was the manager of the old place 10 years ago. The old owners, they kind of had a collection that they were wanting to put someplace. They had no idea how to run an arcade or a bar. They just had an idea and they put it out there. I had been going to ground control with a friend of mine for quite a few years, and I knew that it would be a cool addition to downtown Boise if we could get something open and we could get the vibe right. And I didn't necessarily spend a ton of our time in arcades, but I did know the entertainment and bar side of the equation. And so I was able to run it pretty um, well for 5 years. And I didn't have like any technical ability as far as fixing the games. And so that was where my business partner came in, and he's a huge fan of working on pinball and arcade. And so we bought the previous owners out about 5 years ago. And then we have been working towards getting into this new space and signed a lease, I think, in 2021. We were closed all of 2022. And then we just reopened in 2023 in March. I think St. Patrick's Day was our first day in this new location.
Yeah, I remember checking in and seeing your guys' post talking about like, thanks everybody for being flexible with us being closed for a couple days. Like you're on a skeleton crew. Like this was like the day, like a couple days after you opened. So it's awesome to see that you guys are in there. You're ready. Everything's starting to move. It's been a few months now, so you're starting to get a little more comfortable. Um, why did you move the arcade? Like, was this like a you guys just wanted more space, or was it a necessity to actually move it?
Oh, Joe, that's a big question. So, we loved our old space, and it was really cozy and comfortable, and it was what everybody knew. But if you're not growing, then you're dying. And we had, you know, with the old building, the property owners were not taking good care of the building, and we were paying a lot of money to be there. And then we were also paying to make upgrades to the building that the building owners were refusing to make. And so that was a uh, that was an issue for us, and it was cutting into the profits that we were able to make. And then my business partner, we wanted to bring him on. He was working at another job because we weren't able to, with the small space, we weren't able to make the kind of money that we would need to make to support two salaries for he and I. I was barely just getting by in the one that we had, and we were maxing the place out. I mean, we were under probably 1,000 square feet in the old space. We were just packed in, and so I told him during COVID that we needed to be in a larger space, and we needed to add spirits to our service because that would help us get to the place where we wanted to be as far as prosperity goes for everyone, bartenders and ownership included. So. That was one of the reasons, and we also wanted a better layout. We, like I say, we knew that people liked pinball, they wanted the arcade, they wanted the console area. We liked having live music, and so we wanted a stage and a dance floor, which we now have. We have a DJ booth slash uh, sound booth. We have a little private area now. We have a bigger bar, and we have the print shop as well. And then we do have, as far as the guts are concerned, we've got a large walk-in cooler and storage for all the stuff that we need, um, which makes a huge difference just for the day to day. Just having that infrastructure built in.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like an upgrade in every aspect of the movie. You got more space for games, bigger bar, you got drinks, you got stages, you can do music. It just you rounded everything out, and you have a lot more options, like way more reasons to come out to the arcade and hang out. Other than just the games, which I think is fantastic. You want more than just one thing to draw people. Let's talk a little bit about the financial side of this move. Obviously, it's a huge undertaking to go from one location to the other, just moving stuff. You're closed down for a full year, so there's no profits coming in other than the prints, whatever you guys are doing with the print shop. And
Mhm.
obviously, things get tight. So let's talk kind of what the financial side is for anybody that's planning on moving their arcade or is interested in maybe I want to open an arcade here because it's a good location, but I want to be somewhere bigger in the future. Just kind of give people an idea of like what they should be prepared for, I guess.
Well, we got, with that old property owner that I was speaking of, we had a what we thought was an open line of communication with them, and we asked them for an extension on our lease or month to month, so that we could just make it a one-to-one move. Essentially, we were moving one building to the right, and we let them know what we were up to, and they said, "No problem. We will work with you. You guys have been good tenants for almost 10 years. You paid us the entire time that you were closed during COVID, uh, and we felt we had a good working relationship with them. They told us just keep us, in a loop, which I did every month. I talked to them, and one day I came to work and there was someone sizing up the old space with a tape measure, and I asked my bartender who it was. He told me it was the new tenant. I called the property owner, and they told me that yes, they had signed a lease with a new tenant the week before, and they hadn't told me about it. At that point, I took out with my business partner, and we talked about options to start legal action with them. But we were in a spot where we had all of our money tied up into the move, and they are in a much stronger financial position as far as a legal battle goes. So if we were to try and you know undertake that, then we would have been just out manned as far as that goes. So we decided just to put our efforts into trying to stay alive and get the new space open. We got into the middle of the summer of last year, and we were getting close. But then I just started looking at the numbers of, because as you know, construction costs typically go up, and we were spending money just to stay alive, and so our and we were expecting to make money by continually operating until that move came, and we were hoping we could get it done in a weekend. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so we found ourselves in a shortfall, and I had to call the property owner and the construction company and tell them that we were not going to be able to make the payment of they were looking for, because we were in that shortfall gap. And then it became a game of Mexican standoff. Everybody was kind of, pointing the fingers at each other and who's going to hold the bag on this. And, we did that for months, and then we finally figured out financing. And then we had to get things started again, and that was like trying to get subs back in. That was trying to get the mechanism working and rolling and going again, because Boise is booming right now, and all those people were out doing other jobs, and so to get them back onto site and get the project completed was another bunch of months that we had to wait. And yeah, I mean, I've been living off of my retirement. Zach has been living off of his, and we've just been trying to, but this bar means something to us, and we feel like it means something to the community. And so we decided that we would endure the hardships to get through it, to get the bar back open, and show this town that we love them in this way, and hopefully they will return the favor and continue to patronize our space. So it was really trying, and there's a lot more to the story than just that. But we don't need to get into that today. But yeah, that's kind of what happened over the last year. And so I would say, just make sure that all your ducks are in a row. And I mean, there's this old Jewish proverb that it's like, man plans, God laughs. And so that was kind of where we found ourselves, but we just kind of had to persevere through it, and we did, and now we're on the other side, and we're up and running, and things are going. So just make sure you can plan as best you can, and make sure that all your ducks are in a row, I would say, if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I love that proverb. That one comes up in my mind a lot. Like God plans or man plans, God laughs. It's so true, because you line everything up. You've got your business plan, you got everything figured out, and then one thing throws a wrench in it, and everything just has to be redone on the fly. So
Mm-hmm.
be committed, have your head down, and be ready financially to like have some wiggle room to get the project done. Because at the end, like now you're here, the arcade's open, you guys are starting to make money, and that's what you needed. And I love to hear that Boise's booming, so you guys are gonna be doing awesome out there. What does your guys' game selection look like now? We've gotten through like the whole move. We're in this new spot. What games were you able to put on the floor? And do you guys have any more indies in there, or is it still like
Yeah.
the couple like really custom ones from local?
Yeah. So we have about the same footprint right now. We're working on other games to get on the floor. We just have, you know, we were tapped as far as finances go, so we kind of just put what we had in our old space in the new space, and now we're slowly working on new games. We did before we closed. We purchased a Nidhogg 2, so we have Nidhogg 2 as well as the Switch and Shoot from DSM Arcade, and then or DMS Arcade, and we have a Mad Planets that Zach has. He converted a well, am I blanking? A Gorf cabinet to Mad Planets, Gottlieb Mad Planets. We worked with our local university, Boise State, during the pandemic or during the closure with their engineering students, their graphic design students. It's called New Product Development Lab, and it's these kids who are in these specific arenas, and they helped us build a new cabinet. It's not debuted yet on our floor, but it's called Robot Revolution, and it's similar to Robotron in gameplay. And they built that in like 8 months. We put it on the floor for Tree Fort Music Festival, which is our local music festival here in Boise in March. So that was able to get beta tested and kind of get some eyeballs on it, and they're making some changes to it now. So that will hopefully be on the floor at some point soon in Spacebar. So Robot Revolution is the new one, and then yeah, we've got some more plans to do more of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think indie is definitely where we'd like to start dabbling, because we like to at Spacebar say we've got 1 foot in nostalgia and 1 foot in the future, and indie really helps us do that. And we're seeing a ton of gameplay. In fact, somebody just busted our joystick off Nidhogg 2 the other day. We would love to get like a Killer Queen, I think, in the new space. We've got room for it now, and Black Emperor and a few others. We would love to see Galactic Battleground on the floor. So yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear that you guys are working with like a local university to get more indies in there. I think that's exactly what the space needs. Like, obviously, you're talking about how you want to have 1 foot in the future and 1 foot in the past. Like, it's really important to have the nostalgia, but the future is going to be the big thing with new games, and having people that are local building games. It helps people in the indie space be like, okay, I can make this game and I have somewhere it's going to go that I can test it immediately. That's the hardest thing, is you make these games and you don't know where the hell you're going to put it. So having
Mm,
an arcade like yours is great. And I'm thinking of like Wonderville is another example, and
yeah.
Super Abari in in Charlotte is another one that I'm thinking of too. And it's I love to see more arcades like this that want indie developers that are local to put games in their arcade. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much all I had for you. I just really wanted to know what the move was like and what you guys have for games. Let's wrap everything up with shout outs. Anybody you want to shout out that helped you through the process, as well as social media links so people can check you out and follow the journey from here on out.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Shout out to my business partner, Zach Rowland, first and foremost. He's the guy, and he got me through a lot of the hard times. Every day we would show up and go to work together. Julie White, our bar manager, same. You know, she would call me at 3 o'clock in the morning just to tell me, hey, you can do this. We can get through this. We're going to do it. And, you know, that meant so much. Mom and dad helping me out too. And then Wright Brothers Construction, they helped us out a ton, and yeah, I think, you know, just the staff, all of them, too many to mention, that hung out and made sure to like hang tight and come back to us when we finally got back open, and then all of our guests and patients who come and see us every day and support us. We appreciate all that. And you can find us at Spaceport Arcade on Instagram, on Facebook, and those are really kind of the main uh, socials that we're on. And then spacebararcade.com is our website, and we've got a lot of cool stuff on there. And our print shop site's going to go live, and it'll be connected with all that stuff. And it's called Back Alley Print Shop. So backalleyprintshop.com and at Back Alley Print Shop on Instagram.
Awesome. I love the shout outs. All the social media links I'm going to put in the description so you guys can check them out. If you're in Boise, I still want to make a trip. I'm finally making a trip out to Chicago because I've got an ultimate tournament over there. So I'm going to just knock that out at the same time. Boise, I got to get out there. There's so many
Come
arcades
on
I
out,
want to
Joe.
visit, but I'm
Come
going
see
to
us.
make it out. Um,
Okay.
and then we'll talk more indies and everything. And then for anybody that's still watching, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us a ton. The wave will continue to grow and we'll all ride it together. Don't forget about the t-shirts we've got. I'll throw those up and links in the description, as well as the new cabinets. Thank you, Will, for coming on. I really appreciate your time talking about the arcade. And until next time, peace.
Shout out Indie Wave Arcade.